This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jamie Glazov Moment. Tonight, no honor killings in America? A leftist's callous lies. Ladies and gentlemen, recently our very own Annie Cyrus gave a talk in Nebraska about her experience under Sharia law, and we aired it on the Glazov Gang, and we're going to play a clip of it here in a minute. But at the end of her talk, there was this leftist by the name of Steve who verbally attacked Annie, and full of accusations, full of a lot of idiocy. You can watch the whole clip. It's called Sharia Survivor Schools Islam Apologist. So anyway, just a typical leftist mouthing all these idiocies, and Annie just wipes the floor with him. But I wanted to center in on something in terms of some of the things he said. A lot of just ugly, ugly things that leftists say in terms of this terror war and in terms of America's battle for freedom throughout the world, and et cetera, et cetera. And so we know what the left is. But in this particular case, and I'm going to play a clip in a minute, at one part, this guy Steve says, well, he's not aware of any honor killings in the United States. You know, he doesn't know of any. He doesn't, you know, and it's very interesting that because he doesn't know of any, then it means that it didn't happen. It's just incredible how the left thinks, right? Because he doesn't know of any, so there must not be any honor killings. Let's play the clip.
But in the Quran, doesn't it also say that Christians and Jews are people of the book?
No.
And should be respected?
No, it doesn't actually. On the verses that came after those verses, it says Christian and Jews are not considered believers because they changed the rules of Allah.
I don't know of any honor killing in the United States. There have been honor killings in, you know, Jordan and Israel and some other places. But actually, from my understanding, Islamic authorities do not approve of honor killing. Honor killing is a cultural, you know, thing of pre-Islamic, and they do not approve of it. And I am terribly disturbed by what you said today. You know, it seems to me, you know, just a message of hate, really. And you know, I don't take away your personal experiences.
No, but
or
my
your
question
right
for you,
to
if you allow me to ask you this question, why is it that I just coming out and explaining, and I would call it exposing the truth of a book is preaching hate, but me being raped, lashed, put in prison, sold to marriage isn't hate?
Well, okay, now isn't that special? You know, just one moronic statement after the other. Again, watch the whole episode, because Annie does a great job in discrediting and refuting all the moronic things he says. But I just want to narrow in on this particular clip. You know, you notice that he mentions Israel and Jordan. Okay, Steve, Israel is not an Islamic country, and it doesn't have honor killings, okay? That's Israel, okay? It's not Islamic, okay? So get your facts straight. No honor killings in Israel. In terms of Jordan, yeah, you're right. But, you know, if you watch the clip, ladies and gentlemen, you know, he talks about how, you know, the Islamic authorities do not approve of honor killings. You know, it's this cultural thing. It's pre-Islamic. It's got nothing to do with Islam. Well, no, Steve, actually, you're wrong. So, for instance, even if you go to the Palestinian Authority, you know, if you study what goes on under the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, the police often don't even get involved in honor killings because that's how much they're accepted. Because Islam, you know, provides a foundation to them. You know, everybody read the memoir, Burned Alive, A Victim of the Law of Men. And there's a honor killing survivor, Suad, who writes in this memoir, Burned Alive. And she tells a horrifying story. And I recommend this story to be, you know, for everyone to read it, including Steve. But it's about what's happening, you know, in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, in terms of what's happening in that Islamic environment. Now, Steve mentions Jordan. Now, Steve, since you're mentioning Jordan, maybe you should know something about Jordan. Articles 97, 98, 99, 340 of the Penal Code in Jordan are designed specifically to reduce or even erase penalties for honor killings. Okay, now that's because Islamic law and Islamic texts serve as a foundation for honor killings. So, you know, later in the clip, in this particular video, which was not in this particular clip, but Steve later says that, you know, he's never heard of Reliance of the Traveler because Annie brings up the Reliance of the Traveler. It's a classic manual of Sharia certified by Al-Azhar University. This is the most prominent institution in Sunni Islam. And the Reliance of the Traveler, it absolves parents of the guilt of killing their kids. Okay? So this is the foundation for honor killing. So Steve says he's never heard of the Reliance of the Traveler. Well, Steve, the Reliance of the Traveler still exists if you haven't heard of it. Honor killings occur if you haven't heard of them. The sun exists if you haven't heard of it. Planet Earth exists if you haven't heard of it. There's things that exist independently of whether you have heard about something or not. This issue of honor killings means a lot to me personally. I've dedicated a lot of my life to fighting on behalf of the victims of gender apartheid throughout the Islamic world. So today, because of what Steve said to Annie, I wanted just to take just a few minutes out to mention some honor killing victims and bring them to life and bring them to our memory here today. Because what totalitarian regimes want most, what Islam wants most, what the left wants most, is to erase the individual and its victims and to erase their memory. And Steve, in his own way, is doing that because he's caught up in the unholy alliance. He's a leftist. He's trying to exonerate Islam. And so, one way or another, by saying that he's never heard of any honor killings in the United States, that's the way that they erase the victims. They erase individuals. And I want to bring life to them. So, in an answer to Steve, I want to just begin with a few people. Aksa Parvez, in 2007, murdered in Toronto, in North America, by her father and her brother, suffocated because she didn't want to wear a hijab. The Saeed sisters, Amina and Sarah, 2008, in Texas, murdered by their father because they were becoming too westernized. The Shafia sisters, Zainab, Sahar, and Giti Shafia, aged 19, 17, and 13. Their bodies were found in a submerged car in Kingston, Ontario in 2009, murdered by their father and by other family members. Their father is quoted as saying, "I would do it again 100 times. May the devil shit on their graves." Is that what a daughter should be? Would a daughter be such a whore? And God's curse on them for generations. They betrayed Islam. That's a quote from their father. Noor al-Maliki, 2009, murdered by her father in a Phoenix suburb for becoming too westernized. Asiya Hassan, 2009, had her head chopped off in Buffalo, New York by her moderate Muslim husband, who's, by the way, his whole goal was to set up a TV station to show the moderate nation of Islam. Shaima Alawadi, 2010, mother of 5, found out dead in a home in California. This is quite an interesting story. Shows a lot about the left. There was a note found by her body in a pool of blood that said, "Go back to where you came from, you terrorist," or something of that nature. And so the left started a campaign of posting photos of themselves wearing a headscarf and a hijab. It was called 1 million hijabs for Shaima Alawadi. They started their own web page on Facebook, etc., etc. So, you know, this big campaign, because they thought at the time, or they were trying to paint it at the time, that some, you know, redneck or somebody some Islamophobe, some racist had killed Shyma. But it turned out to be an honor killing. It was her husband that killed her. And guess what happened? Once that was found out, the whole campaign died. And nobody cared for Shyma anymore. And when I say no one, I mean among the left, because we care. But it's very interesting that once it becomes an honor killing, the left completely drops its campaign and stops caring for an individual. I wanted to bring some of these victims to life and for us and to our memory and for all of us to remember them, because people like Steve believe that, you know, Aqsa Parvez and the Saeed sisters never existed and didn't get killed because he never heard of them. That's the callousness of the left. And I just want to end with this. You know, Steve says that, you know, he's never heard of it or he doesn't know. Steve, you don't want to know. Because if you want to know, it's not that difficult. You do a little Google search. You keep an eye on Robert Spencer's Jihad Watch that documents all of this daily. You go to Pamela Geller's site, the Geller Report. For instance, she has a really special page. It's called Honor Killings Grow in the West, Islam's Gruesome Gallery. And, you know, it just shows all the pictures and all the documentation of all the honor killings occurring in North America. You know, you just follow Robert Spencer, Pamela Geller. You just even Google on their sites honor killings, and they give you all the latest terrible crimes against women throughout the world, but also in the West and in the United States. But Steve, you don't have the time to find out about honor killings because you're busy going to a speech delivered by a Sharia survivor, a hero like Annie Cyrus, who suffered under Sharia. And you're spending your time insulting her and attacking her verbally and telling her that she's preaching hate, etc., etc. But you know, Annie's experienced a lot more than somebody like you. And Annie Cyrus herself could have been an honor-killing victim. But she survived. And she's spending her life now focusing on the people that didn't get out, didn't escape Sharia. She's spending her life trying to bring a memory to all honor-killing victims and also to try to defend future potential honor-killing victims. Because somebody like Annie Cyrus, that's the producer of this show, that is such an honor and a privilege for me to work beside, she stands for humanity, for courage, for honor, for compassion, for empathy, and for love. And you, Steve, just like all your leftist comrades, you stand for inhumanity, cowardice, and hatred. Thank you for watching the Jamie Glazov Moment tonight. Good night.